The Prince and the Product, the penultimate episode of this new Futurama season. This is one I didn't know much about until recently, when a comment informed me that it was an anthology episode. When I heard that, I was definitely worried. I thought the two anthology of interest episodes in the show's original run were pretty good, but after that, Futurama really struck out with their other anthologies, such as Naturama and Saturday Morning Fun Pit. I wasn't really expecting them to bring the format back after the negative reception of the Comedy Central anthologies, combined with the fact that this season has been so hit or miss. I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into. At the end of the day, I probably should have expected what we got. The synopsis and review of the new Futurama episode will contain spoilers, so go watch it, then come back. The episode opens with Fry and Leela making a delivery to a Space King. While making this delivery, Leela meets a prince and immediately falls in love with him. Fry is completely oblivious until Leela informs Fry that she is now getting married to him. I wasn't really a big fan of this opening, but I also knew that this was an anthology, so I let it slide. These weren't things that were actually happening. I suppose if I went into this not knowing it was an anthology episode, this would have annoyed me more, but whatever. Then the episode got paused for an ad break. An ad break for wind-up toys. Here we enter our first anthology plot. Fry, as a wind-up toy, is slowing down since he was slowly winding down while frozen in the cryogenic freezer. Everyone is looking for solutions to this, but ultimately nothing is working. They go on a hunt up in the mountains to meet a guru, and while they are heading up the mountain, Fry runs out of energy. This upsets Bender, who uses the law of thermodynamics to revive him, but this zaps his own energy, and as he passes out, he falls into a vat of molten metal. As this happens, Fry meets the guru, who assures him everything will be okay, because Bender will be reincarnated as another life form. As she says that, Bender reincarnates as an airplane and promptly flies into a mountain. Somehow satisfied with their newfound understanding of life, the Planet Express crew return to their everyday lives. We return to Fry and Leela at the Space King's castle, where the king forbids his son from marrying Leela, causing Fry to get angry. He accuses the king of trying to get in the way of true love and challenges him to a duel. Full stop here. I don't remember Fry being nearly as pathetic in any of these other seasons. I know this is an anthology, so this stuff isn't actually happening, but isn't the point of these to show how the characters would act in these situations that just aren't real? Not to make random situations and show the characters not acting like themselves in them at all. Speaking of not having characters act like how they otherwise would, the next anthology follows the characters in a Hot Wheels-like universe where they are all toy cars. They have fun delivering things together as a company except for Zoidberg. They exclude Dr. Zoidberg. They do a Ring parody here, where all of them are shown a video, and if they answer a phone after seeing it, they are unable to ignore their compulsion to extend their warranty. They head to a building where they are all killed one by one, except for Hermes. He learns that Zoidberg is the one behind all of this. Since he's always excluded and wants to hang out with everyone, he's creating this chop shop where he can add car parts from everyone to his own body. In the end, he ends up replacing his brain with Hermes, and the entire Planet Express crew aside from Zoidberg is now combined into one car. At the duel, Leela takes Fry's place and they joust. Leela wins, but at the last second learns that the king sent his son in his place. The prince dies from his wounds, the king getting what he wanted in the end. The final anthology is an advertisement for bath toys. Half of the crew divided into rubber ducks, and the other half bobble-like things. The story starts with Fry, Amy, Farnsworth, and Zoidberg wondering if there's anything beyond the sea. So they voyage out and away in hopes to find something new. They come across a land where Leela, Bender, Scruffy, and Hermes live, and they begin to mingle. They are all pretty distrusting of each other except for Fry and Leela, who fall in love. Not everyone can agree whether or not they should be together, and this leads to a war in which everyone dies, except for the two kids which Fry and Leela had together. After this, we cut back to the main plot, I think, where Fry apologizes to Leela for what happened. She explains that she wasn't actually torn up about it because the reason she fell in love with the prince was because there was a spell placed on her. The end. To be completely honest, I have no clue how I sat through this episode in one sitting. I won't be able to do that ever again. The structure of this episode was done right. They followed the anthology format rather well. I guess I'm kind of just searching for nice things to say about this episode because I'm praising them for doing things that are impossible to mess up. The wind-up toys and cars had good designs, and the worlds they were in were pretty good too. I didn't think the bath toy story had good character or background design, but in all fairness, I don't know how they could make them look not ugly. I found the humor in a lot of these didn't really land well for me. There were a couple things in the bath toy episode I found funny. Kif's sigh got a chuckle out of me, and I like Bender's line on cross-species dating. Another detail I liked was how Bender was really caring about Fry in the wind-up toy segment. That was nice. I don't really have much positive to say about this episode other than that. The main plot was a little odd. It felt like it was designed to be terrible and to piss people off, but it wasn't really done well enough for it to be funny. A lot of the one-liners are pretty weak in pretty much every segment. The idea of a terribly written Futurama episode being too short because they were trying to jam in too much ad space wasn't a good idea to begin with. I think there was something unique about the original anthology of interest episodes because the characters themselves were suggesting these scenarios that the writers made it seem like the characters would genuinely be curious about. And this episode just being a bunch of completely random things, using the characters for their designs more so than their actual established personalities, made the attempt of them pretending to be disingenuous actually disingenuous. Seeing Zoidberg as a serial killer was weird. It felt similar to the Leela serial killer plot in the Anthology of Interest 1, the main difference being, I can't really see any situation where Zoidberg is a killer. Fry felt like such a blank slate in the wind-up toy episode, they didn't make him feel like an actual person at at all. Everything felt awkward, and as short as each anthology subplot was, they all still felt drawn out. This episode was maybe a 4 out of 10, I could go lower. This episode was just a letdown. Even IMDb gave this episode a 4.5 out of 10. Do you have any idea how nice and generous the good people of IMDb are with their scoring? They'll give something that's average a 7.8 at least. I can see why these past 3 episodes were ones that Hulu elected not to screen to critics before their release. This season has been turning into a letdown. I was excited after we got a few good episodes, Children of a Lesser Bog, related to items you viewed, and I Know What You Did next Xmas. And while these episodes are great, they don't really go above and beyond. The lows in this season are very low, and the highs aren't all that high. Once again, I'm starting to wish that Futurama just stuck with the perfect ending they got in 2013. Maybe this last episode will be good enough to change my mind, but Futurama just hasn't been feeling like Futurama these past few weeks. The characters just aren't themselves. Fry and Leela aren't Fry and Leela. Thank God Bender's been sticking around at least. I'll be here to review the season finale, to see if it ends on a high note. Since we're getting so close to the end, I created a playlist for all these episodes, and you can see my review for any episode this season right here. See y'all later.